Okay, so welcome to this workshop. My name is Mads Ronald Dahl. I'm a consultant at Aarhus University, and I have worked with the framework DigComp 2.2 for about a few years, and use it as a terminology for digital competences here at Aarhus University, Denmark. So just a short introduction to the university. Uh, and I'll show you how we work with our 5 faculties with this 3-step workshop, and then we summarize together in a 4th step. So this is Denmark, and encircled in blue in the middle is the city where I work, Aarhus. It's the 2nd largest city in Denmark, and our university is widespread throughout the country and also at Greenland and a research facility in Spain. So we have a really nice campus with our 5 faculties, about 36,000 students and 11,000 employees. This is from our strategy 20 to 25, where digital competences for all students is written explicitly in our strategy as something we have to support in order to meet the future labor market for our graduates, to integrate more research-based degree programs for good quality, and to develop more for example, innovation and entrepreneurship in our educations. So how do we do this? I work for a center called Education Development, and being a education developer, I then have a workday within the 5 faculties, and we go out to meetings where we can meet as many faculty members as possible. So it's seldomly one-on-one support. It's usually that we work together with the entire faculty members for a program. The important thing in the beginning of our work was to implement the DigComp 2.2 framework terminology. So the definitions of what is a digital competence at all. How do we define it? How can we describe it? What does it contain? Then we have a lot of focus on the written curriculum, not the practical curriculum and what's happening in the classroom, but what do we write about our educations? So, because this is a more and more important way of communicating and, for example, attracting the correct students for the correct program, and also be able to emphasize for the students what are the competences you'll gain from the program. Another important point is that we want a more holistic view from the teachers towards the curriculum program, so that they do not focus only on their own semester and their own course, but also have an idea of the entire program. It's really important for us when we go out and conduct this work that we have a lot of respect for the individual education, their culture, the subjects, and realizing that we don't know what these educations are because we don't teach there and we don't have this education. Students, when they enter a program, they have an extreme focus on the exam. Is it relevant for the exam? So the exam forms and the testing of the students is something that we are focused on in our work. And then we make some workshops for the educations, and it is these workshops that I'll take you through in this session here. What we then produce from these workshops and from this, what we deliver back to the education after the workshop is some overviews, some summaries, and some suggestions for what could be the next steps, or what could they take away from these workshops that we've conducted. So the first thing we do when we meet the education is that we try to get them to realize that they should now focus on the future graduates. So not themselves or their own course or what they experienced during their education, but what could we wish for our future graduate students? And then we want them to realize what is the problems with not having a terminology, a standardized terminology that we agree on. What issues occurs when we don't have a language for what we're doing. And then the third important thing is, as I mentioned, that we raise the view and look across the semesters and towards the entire program from start to finish. So right out of the box, we give them this model here and ask them to write down what do they see right now in terms of digital competences being relevant or irrelevant digital competences, and is it present or is it absent? And the latest workshop we conducted were for engineers. And so this was civil and architectural engineering, about 80 teachers and faculty members. And this is a mapping of a summary of these groups. They were about, let's say, 10 groups. And as you can see, some say that programming is present and it's relevant. That's 7 groups who mentioned this, but there are 6 groups who says that it's relevant but absent. Another issue was with spreadsheets, so that could be being able to use programs like Excel. 7 say that it's present, or 3 say it's present and 3 say it's absent. So being able to look across the semester with this more exercise gives them maybe an idea that that could be some benefits from making it more transparent, that the written curriculum becomes more transparent also for the teachers, so that they can take advantage of technologies already present in the curriculum and build on this. In terms of engineers, virtual reality and augmented reality is present in many areas, but it's kind of a very murky, difficult areas, because it's very specific technology for a very specific usage. So this gives us a dialogue tool with the education, where we can then talk to them about, well, if we look across the semester, could we then make a better experience for the students? So here is a link to a Padlet where I have put all the steps that we're going to go through here, and I'll just put this link also in the chat so that you can get to these 3 steps. But what I want you to try, and I think we'll just do it because maybe 1 or 2 groups, it depends on how many we are, that we take the 5 domains from the DigComp 2.2 and then we try to score them in terms of education that we agree on here in this small setting here, and then we have to figure out, in terms of the final product or the final graduate who have finished their degree, what should be the end goal? How would we prioritize these 5 domains in terms of our education? So the first exercise is to try to put these 5 domains in this matrix, and this matrix comes from the German pendant to DigComp 2.2 called DICOLAN from their natural science education. So I've taken their matrix and then used the DigComp 2.2 as a small tool where we can then score each of the domains in terms of our education. So
I copied already the link to the Padlet in the chat.
Brilliant. So then I can show over here in the Padlet. We here have our first task, and here we should then try to, if you download this PowerPoint file, then you should be able to move these 5 domains on this matrix. And since we come from different areas and different have different tasks, I just had a look. What are the most sought after educations today? And number 1 is educations within business, and number 2 is educations within health professionals, and number 3 is within cultural science and history. And there's an expectation of a huge growth in the demand for these 3 domains. So if you don't have any specific education you want to look at, you could choose one of these. So I'll just stop sharing here for a minute and have a look. So maybe we could make 2 groups, and if you then have 3 people in 3 or 4 people in each group, you can then try to make this matrix with the PowerPoint file. So I'll make 2 groups, and then you could agree on our example is this education, and then we'll have a look at it in use 10 minutes on this exercise. So do you understand the exercise? Okay.
So each group should select a kind of, let's say, I select health education, or somebody else selects, what was the first one you said?
It's business, social science,
okay.
or
and then basically each group should discuss and decide those 5 areas of DigComp, how relevant they are in terms of competencies that students working in those, studying in those faculty should have. This is the idea.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I'll make 2 groups. And you should be able to join a group and then upload just one final product within 5-10 minutes.
Okay, now I'm thinking, how do... Okay, I get into room 1.
Upload. We have Stefan with us, that probably better understood what we have to do. Hi, Stefan. You are muted.
Stefano, you're muted.
Sorry, you're right. Sorry. No, from what I understood, we should like simulate as if we were a group of professors in, let's say, business. Let's choose that domain, and we should discuss among us, and we take one by one the 5 areas of DigComp and decide how relevant each one of them is using that matrix. So we should locate in the matrix the bar with the area 1 information and data literacy, how relevant it is for the business, for studies in business. Or well, my feeling is that, yeah, okay, this is because there is also a relative relevance, okay, because one aspect is all of them are relevant probably today for a business student. So it's more an issue probably of, we could probably say that all of them are relevant, but then some are, like for instance, safety, in my opinion, it's something that somebody working in business issues who's there could probably rely on being in a company when there are some safety specialists taking care of safety related issues. So of course they should be aware to some extent of the problems and things, but it's not so.
So like you would relegate this to -2, for example.
Well, -2 maybe it's a bit too much, but I would put in the minus area. Okay. on the minus side, safety. And if we were discussing, for instance, of medical students, then I think safety would be more important, because I don't know if you're aware, but in safety there is also being aware about the health risks and opportunities related to digital technologies. So for health people, this is an important aspect, for instance, but business students, they should be aware. So one thing probably that we should give back as a feedback to Mads is, it's when they do this kind of exercise, if they only discuss about which area where, or they also discuss about the level of competence. Like they should be, like I was saying now, you know, everybody should have some introductory level, but there is also the aspect of, on some things you really have to be very proficient, on others less.
Sorry, I'm just going to mute.
I think you're right, Stefan. Obviously, all the 5 areas are relevant for each field of study, but the level of proficiency in each area will depend on the particular field of study. So, as you say, the safety can be relevant for medicine, +1 or +2, while it could be at 0 level for other.
Yeah. Okay.
So we are taking into account the business area, or something else?
The principal business area. So, okay, we decided where to put safety. Let's go with the other area. The first area is information and data literacy, which today includes the whole thing about the data analysis, data visualization, data. So this, for me, I don't know, but business students should be skilled in this area.
Sure.
From the 5, to me, I really like problem solving is extremely important, because that implicates already a lot of things. It means that you already need to have knowledge of a lot of tools, or in order to be able to solve a problem. It's very overall.
So you see 5 for business students as possibly the most important area, or?
Problem solving or information and data literacy.
Probably the 2 top ones.
Place one of those.
Well, we can put both in the high.
Communication and collaboration is still relevant for business area. Marketing area is the.
Also, yeah.
So anyway, I think we have to.
The lowest one, maybe digital content creation, could be on -2 place.
We can try to put these 5 areas in the 5 upper quadrant. Just the most important, through the most important down to the less important. -2 doesn't mean that this area is not is totally ignored, but we have to
It says less relevant, so
find some order between the areas.
It's a ranking notion.
A ranking. Right.
Okay. So we rank safety, understood, rank safety and content, digital content production low,
Yes.
lower side. Then we put problem solving and information and data literacy on the opposite end of the scale. So important, relevant. And then what do we have, which is missing? No, we have all of them.
Communication,
right.
And collaboration.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm an engineer, so I'm overwhelmed by problem solving. So in my next life, I don't want to solve any problem. But I think that problem solving is not so relevant for all the professionals in the business area. I think is in the middle.
Or for the engineer.
But
then you would put in 0 problem solving.
Any professional have to solve some problem during his life.
Yeah.
But I think that in business, manage information and communicate are the main competencies. I think. While problem solving is just below, and the other two are the left hand.
Last
So
one.
we can try to arrange this kind of ranking.
Has any one of you downloaded the PPT and?
I didn't download it, but I have it in front of
because
me.
I think that the only way to change, it's to download it and then re-upload it.
Okay.
Let me check. Yes. Okay, I downloaded it.
Okay.
Okay, I downloaded it. Now I am going to fill in. Okay, let me share my screen so you see what I'm doing. Okay, so we said we would put information and data literacy and communication here. We put safety around, maybe I would put it here. Digital content creation is probably the less relevant, so we could go here, and problem solving around here. What do you think?
Right. The premise should be that we are not saying that the left minus 2 means that we have to ignore these competencies. Just a base or intermediate level is enough, while we are asking for an advanced level for the other 3. I think the level is the is related to the relevancy.
Okay.
Because any competence is necessary for any professional, I think, but at the minimum level, also because in safety we have antivirus, anti-spam, and that are even relevant.
Something like this. Okay, so I now let's see if I can do it. I save the file, save, and I re-upload it. Okay. So now I just go to the Padlet. Back from group. Well, that's
I don't know this application. Probably
yeah,
you have
Padlet
to...
is a tool that it's nice to. It's easy to use to share.
Yes. So you just press the plus button to a new pad at the step 1 column. I don't know. I'm trying to understand how it works.
That's just a second that I'm posting it. And now you should see our.
Yes.
It's up. Okay.
Yes.
So what I would do now, I would leave our session and go back to the main session. Okay.
Okay.
See you there. Okay, Mads, we are back and we uploaded.
You are uploaded. That's good.
Well, the thing is that if someone hasn't used Padlet before, it's not obvious how to use it. That you have to download the file, re-upload it, and these kind of things. But
it's a tool, and once you know it, it's easy. And if you don't know it, it's really difficult.
But let's wait for the others. But then we have a question for you.
Okay.
But I would wait for the others to join back. I hope they managed to get back. Yes, they are. Good.
Yes, it closes automatically. So I think we're back.
Almost everybody.
There's nobody left in the breakout session, so
we're all here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you had a question?
Well, we were okay. We decided, if you look at the thing we shared, we basically we said for business, we chose business school students. Could have been anyone,
right?
And what we said is that, of course, to some extent, all 5 areas are relevant. I mean, we expect that business school students should be knowledgeable, to have some skills in all these areas. But then we thought in some of these areas, they should have a deeper, they should be more proficient. So we interpreted the relevant and non-relevant more in terms of the proficiency level that should be achieved, rather than saying it's not relevant in general. So based on this reasoning, we decided that now I don't remember which were the
you had data literacy and
communication and collaboration. Yes, are at the top. I mean, they are very important competencies that business students should master, especially the data literacy part. And then we thought problem solving, fine, but then typically problem solving, and it depends how you look at it, of course, but problem solving from a more technical point of view, business people tend to rely on engineers for that. But it's true that in area 5 of DigComp, we have the creative use of digital technology. So using digital technology to innovate process and products, which is typically a task of business people, entrepreneurs, or people working in, let's say, with this kind of drive. So anyway, we put it in the middle, and then we thought that digital content creation is really something that it's not that important. Of course, you need to be able to produce a presentation or to work on a spreadsheet, but it's and safety also, we thought it's something on which you need to have the general level of competence as any citizen, but typically if you work in a company on these issues, you will have the IT staff in charge of safety, security aspects that will take care of it. So you don't have to be that knowledgeable about it.
Exactly.
That's it.
So and it's easier to be to do this if you don't have any assets in it. But when we work with faculty members, they are very reluctant to do as you did, being able to say safety and responsibility is less relevant. It's important, but it's less relevant. We want to focus on collaboration, and we want to focus on data literacy as proficiency level 6 to 8 in terms of DigComp. And whereas safety and responsibility is proficiency level 3, 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the kind of dialogue we want to achieve with this exercise, being able to say that the final graduate should have a program or a profile that looks somewhat like you presented. So, so let me just share my screen here and show you. So here you see the result from the workshop with the engineers. So here they put engineers, safety and responsible usage as less relevant, and problem solving, that's something an engineer should be able to do. And then equal between the literacy domain and the creativity, communication and collaboration in relevant plus. And this is an average score of the 80 participants who were there. And then a good dialogue occurred where some engineers said, well, we have to emphasize more on communication and collaboration for the future graduates. Others said, no, we need to keep focusing on the problem solving. And then one of the participants said, it's true that you get, as an engineer, you get hired on your ability to solve problems, but you get fired on your lack of ability to communicate and collaborate. So there was some really good discussions about what happens to our graduates when they leave us, and what is this profile, how important is it for them. So we call these tools dialogue tools because they are not in any way representative of the actual, but it gives us a language to talk and to make have ambitions on behalf of our graduate students of the future. So,
yeah. Can I ask you a question? Because sure. This slide that you're showing is useful for that. Digital content creation includes, from the point of view of the substance of what you do, two very different things. One is what I would call content creation for expression. So the the writing, the drawing, the multimedia production, all these kind of aspects which have to do with also aesthetics and well, these aspects. Okay, digital content creation in terms of media, I would say more media kind of products. And on the other hand, we have competence 3.4, which is programming, which is that has been put here because when DigComp was being designed, there was a big discussion on the importance of including programming competence as part of the competence that all citizens should have to some extent. And where to put it? It was not, of course, information and data literacy. It was not communication and collaboration. So it was put under digital content creation also because it's true that if you have to a degree of programming skills, you can customize the tools or develop tools for your own digital content production better. So it's a skill related to the other one. But I was thinking from the point of view of engineers, the fact that they put digital content creation so high, do you think that it reflected the presence of programming, or it reflected the more media kind oriented type of digital production, digital content production? And the question behind this is, when you start a discussion with these people, how deep do you go into the explanation of DigComp? How much are they aware of this? Because DigComp is indeed a complex object that includes very different things. So since you say it's important to create a common terminology, it's also important to be sure that the meaning of words is the same, that we all understand more or less the same things when we say this or that.
Well, digital competence is not an exact science, so we cannot use exact measurements on what is digital content creation. It needs to be applied within the subject. What do they
understand?
So we need to give ownership to each topic and subject, and they need to be able to elaborate. So we can use the 21 areas of the framework as examples, and to give an idea, what do we mean by creativity or digital content creation? What do we mean by safety? And use it as examples. And then the subjects, the areas must adapt and try to put their own language that fits it, because we cannot anticipate a research-based higher education area what they need in terms of digital competences. And for engineers, it's something like they have systems called BIM, which is buildings where they can 3D draw entire buildings, and then they say, if we make the concrete this and this type, if we make the walls 5 centimeters thinner, how much do we save? All these kinds of things, and software solutions and programming solutions that we cannot anticipate in a framework. It needs to be within the subjects.
Okay. I have something to say there as well in this topic. We are considering that any kind of digital production and the industrial design and the building information modeling applications entering this field are content creation as well. It's not just a presentation or a text document. If you are creating or designing a machine, it can be extremely complex, but you are creating content. It's not multimedia content. It's a very specific industrial design content, but it's content as well. And even if you are making a budgeting and a spreadsheet, you are creating content, a very specific one, but you are creating content. So I think content creation must be considered in a much wider scope that just express the expression of someone's opinions or whatever.
Okay.
The real, even the real production tools are for content creation.
Okay, I agree. You're right.
So I think that we should think of. I would think in terms of higher education, we need to let the structure be even more elastic than for, let's say, if we are interested in using the PICS system or the basic 21 elements, and be very concise in our way of implementing this. it's not going to work in higher education because we can't say that this is relevant for the subject. So this is where we need to let go of the control and say, how can it be useful as a terminology and a framework within any subject? So the next exercise would then be from your mapping of within your given education. What would you say if you chose that collaboration and communication were extremely important within your business education? What elements would be relevant within the curriculum? What topics, what areas? Not a specific program or software, but what domains? As you mentioned, Stefano, if it were engineers, where would you then put programming in your interpretation of a theme for your curriculum? So in the next exercise here, you within the group try to take the areas that you found really important for the graduate students and come up with a few themes and areas for the model. So you can see on the Padlet, you can again download a PowerPoint template and then write in a few ideas of what could it be? What would you write there? If it were engineers, you would write this as mentioned, this building information system modeling program. If it were for, so I'll try not to come with too many examples and just let you come up with some ideas for what could it look like.
Now, Mads, I don't want to disrupt this process, but I'm concerned that Roberto, he already had to leave. And I don't know how much time, because we have 3 more steps to go through, right? And
I think we can speed it up. Once you've tried this, I can speed it up a little bit.
Okay, so you want us to do this exercise, and then the next 2 we can...
we can move faster. I can show you how we use it.
Okay.
So you have 10 minutes, and then I'll interrupt you again. Okay, so was it hard? Difficult?
Well,
yes, I think harder, because I think if we are not really specialists in business and working in business, then it becomes harder to project there.
And if you're in business, that's a huge area. It's a world of its own. And if you're in supply chain management, then that's a world of its own. If you're in marketing, then it's it's huge worlds, each of these subjects, and they need to discuss across semesters, across topics, what is digital competences within our field of work for our graduate students. So it's really complicated, and these words become important for a common understanding of the education of the future. So let me just show you from our experience here. So this slide here represents the work of the 2-hour workshops with the engineers, where they were sitting in groups, and then they produced all these words that you see here within the 5 domains, and then we squeezed it into these areas or topics or themes for the education. And then we could give it back to the engineers, and they could proofread it and they can then continue their discussions at this program level. Are these the areas we want to cover in proficiency level 1 to 8? We have not discussed the proficiency levels, but that's the idea that this should be scalable, so that critical thinking and programming, data analysis for the engineers could be at a proficiency level 7, 8, whereas sharing data and digital tool development could be level 3. So there's the option here of graduating within the themes that they have selected. But from these themes, from these dialogues, they can then try to produce narratives, and they can try to compile all the things that they do across the semesters within and under each of these themes and topics. So far the workshop has gone fine, also together with the engineers. But then the next level is the course level, the actual teaching, the practical level. What do we do in the semesters at the different courses to support this? This exercise, the faculty members find extremely challenging to narrow the things down that they actually do in the curriculum. And just to show you what they reached in for the engineers, they wanted to, for problem solving, which were one of their most important things, they want to be able to use digital tools, modeling and designing, and conduct programming. In terms of collaboration, which is also something that they found important, is that they want to utilize different tools for collaboration, group work, making a network and alpha groups, and use virtual reality and augmented reality in their collaboration. So it's just a few examples, and you can see that artificial intelligence appears both in creating content and in data literacy in terms of the engineers, and that's totally up to them. It's not something that we as consultants should decide for them. Another education or another area where we have worked is at the Faculty of Health, and the process here has been very different from the Faculty of Technical Science. For the engineers and technical science, they asked us to come and conduct this workshop themselves. At the Faculty of Health, it's the Dean of Education who said, I want all my educations to go through this process. So there's an individual and cultural thing in terms of how fast and how mature are the different areas. So therefore, our workshop has to be very flexible. Now, this picture you see here from the Faculty of Health, it took us about 6 months of discussion back and forth to end up with this picture. And this picture of digital competences for graduates from the Faculty of Health is for 9 different educations. And then now the different educations have to look at this map and then describe their own education. And they don't have to select all of these themes or areas, but they could select, let's say, a few, 3, 5 areas that they want to describe for their education. They are also welcome to add areas if they think they are missing. It's their tools. We've just developed it for them and structured it for them, and they have to fill it and put it into practice. And then the follow-up from this is to go out to each of the education and help them to make these individual maps for each education and to discuss with them, is there something that you are missing in your program now? Should you be looking at new elective courses, for example, or what could help you achieve your profiles? So this part of our strategy has been to focus a lot on the students and on the graduate students' final digital competences. And then our next, the next part of our strategy is to then ask, in order to achieve these graduates, do we have, as faculty, as employees, do we have the competences needed to support this strategy for our graduates? So it's a two-part way of thinking. First, we think about what do we wish for our graduate students, and then afterwards we think, are we as faculty, do we have the correct competences ourselves? And we ask our faculty members, how would you like to develop your competences? Yeah, so here at 2nd of October, we started our pilot in the using the PICS system, which is a self-training course built entirely on DigComp 2.2, and it supports the 21 different areas. And we are running 10 of these areas for a small cohort of 20 students as an extracurricular offer for the students in order to train their digital skills. And just from this pilot, we know that giving extracurricular offers to the students is difficult because there's no, we don't have an exam, it's not integrated into the curriculum, and the students are very busy, very stressed, and they, in terms of, as we said, exam and exam forms, the best way of implementing digital competences for our future graduate students is that it is fully integrated in our curriculum. Otherwise, it's probably not going to happen. So that's where we stand right now, and that's how we run our workshops and then use it as dialogue tools with the faculty. So, Stefano, I tried to speed it up a little bit.
Fine. No, it's great. So we can finish by 3:30 as planned. And yeah, I don't know. Anyone has questions, reflections?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's very useful, and it really helps a lot to systematize. And if I would like to use this matrix more or less within my institution, would that be possible?
Yes, you have the template here on the Padlet, and you're welcome to use it and adapt it and modify it. And if you want to refer, we've written our names, and you can refer to that as a reference. It's not something that I plan to make a publication or anything. I really would like it to be used in the higher education environment as a general matrix. It has helped us a lot, and it's a very versatile tool. We've now got quite some experience, and it helps us as a dialogue tool to break through to very, very different subjects. And even though we don't have any clue what this subject is about, they can then explain what is important for them.
Thank you. That's great.
Please go.
I have tried to do something from your presentation from June when you did it for the first time, Mads. And as I'm not on your level regarding the schools. I have from kindergarten up to secondary school, and try to find something similar. And I have taken your ideas and wondering how to grab how to lead the process in the schools, just to get to the same kind of discussions as you say you have at your university. So I hope that's okay for you, Mads. And I haven't sent it to the schools yet, but I try to use the thoughts you have in that at our level as well. So I hope it's fine.
It's I'm very happy.
Carola, if I may
Yeah.
say, since you say that you work with different levels of schools, what might be interesting is to add a kind of like into this kind of dialogue. Each level of school can set goals on decide which of those areas are most important at their level, and set goals, and then the people coming from the next level can say, okay, we know that you arrive until there, and we can move on from there to a different level on different areas, and so on. So use it also as a way to discuss about longitudinal digital competence development. I know that in some countries they have already done this, like at institutional level. The Minister of Education has set, let's say, the goals of digital competence development for the different levels of education, and if that's already done, then you don't need to do it, and you can just focus more on, for instance, different types of disciplines. So how history, geography, I mean, it depends really how education is organized in each country. But
yes, we have worked with the progression on different levels since last January, and it's up to be decided any day. So the schools know slightly what they should know in kindergarten and what they should know when they come to upper secondary and so forth. So, but before they need to have the discussion that Mads is talking about. What is the most important of those 5 areas right now? And on our level, they are all as important, but different schools start at different points depending on where they are with their digital competencies, and they have to see what do we need, what kind of competencies need the teachers have if we want our students to learn this and that. So they need to discuss that, and they also need to discuss how are we doing with those areas that are not as important to start with. How are we addressing them? Because every student should every year go around this circle and in some point meet all the 5 competencies, and then the level will be higher and higher. So that's our thought.
When in the model that you see, then the top level is called faculty level, but in education you would call that the political level. So using, as you say, agreeing on the terminology on a top level in our educational system is the most important thing for us to get started and to have a continuous journey, lifelong learning. Because if the language changes as fast as the technology develops, then people won't know, well, what is my competences? What am I good for?
Yeah.
So we need to and DigComp is in literature, it's rated the most the best framework for digital competences in terms of its definitions and description of what is it. So it's not, and it should be. There's a lot of literature where these frameworks are compared, but you need to choose something.
Mm.
And I vote for this terminology because it's working for me, and I hope that it will be working throughout education, and because it's such an important institution for society that if you get this language from K8 through high school into university, then it becomes a very strong foundation.
Mm.
Also for giving out certificates and measuring and doing statistics.
Mm. Yeah. Let's see where we are ending up, but we are taking small steps.
Yeah.
Just to make it equal on the whole of Åland, so that every student get the same.
And with this way, we use the framework as a dialogue tool. We show the different programs how difficult it is to describe digital competences by making this first exercise 0, where they have to choose whatever they want. Then they figure out this is really, really difficult. And then we try to give them these frames and this language to describe themselves. And that helps them a lot. If we came and said, we want to implement the EU project DigComp 2.2, then we would be kicked out of the door before we got started.
Yeah, exactly. But we had to give them something, and then they do it themselves to what they need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for participating and doing all the hard work, and I look forward just to look through your comments, and you can write them on the Padlet. And have a nice autumn. See you around.
And okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.